It's on to the round of 32 for the Philadelphia Union as they secured not only a spot in the round of 32, but also a home match with their recent play. We're going to get into all of that action that we saw Sunday and much more here. Welcome to PHY Union Podcast. We've got Andrew Frazier to my left.
Yep.
Computer's right. There we go.
You're left. Yep.
Myself, Renee Washington. Happy to have you guys all here as we have a chance to recap the recent form for the Philadelphia Union, what this all means looking forward, as well as talking through roster rumors. We've got some interesting things going on for the future of the Union. Plus, of course, as we're looking at the success with the Union, there's also been some success outside of the Union, specifically internationally. So we'll highlight some players with some special performances with the international duty. First things first, though, Andrew, on this Monday, we talked. I feel like we've been talking about this in the show a lot lately. Yep. Quite a change for the Philadelphia Union. Here they are in the last 4 matches now. You have 3 wins. You have a draw that ends up, of course, a loss in penalty kicks. But the last 4 games, ever since, we look at the start of the Olympics and just how the Union have been playing recently, it's been exciting to see. The Union feel like they're back. And I know that when we had the results against Nashville, New England, it's 2 teams that are struggling in MLS play. One can say they just got quote unquote lucky, but they're scoring goals, they're winning games, they're playing well, and even with that loss in a penalty kick shootout, was a fantastic game against Cruz Azul Sunday in Leagues Cup play. This team, with the return of Andre Blake, feels like the Union that we know, feels like the Union that we are used to, and it does actually also feel like they're turning a corner as a team. What are your thoughts on the recent form of the Philadelphia Union?
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I definitely see the lucky charm. Kevin Sullivan has come in and has turned this team around. Andre Blake, obviously being back, has been a huge help for them. But I mean, look at that Revs game back on July 17, scoring 5 goals. They go and play Nashville, scoring 3 goals. That's not just luck. There is something to that. There's skill to that, scoring that many goals. I mean, obviously, then Charlotte, and then last night, having that draw, although it was a draw, you still win the group. That was really, really awesome to see that team, to see this team blossoming. We were through some ups and downs, some ebbs and flows with this team from the beginning. They were kind of like, ooh, what are we going to be? Who are we? What is our identity? And then we went into that dreck with this team that was like, oh my gosh, are they going to win a game? They can't win anything at home. What's going to happen? Who are they? And then finally, Kevin Sullivan, the rumors start to fly. Is he going to come to the first team? He comes to the first team. He's here. He's playing with us. And then they just start winning. And it's like, oh my gosh, something is happening here. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's something in the water. I don't know if it's some magic dust that they've got covered in. I don't know what's going on, but I am so happy to see it. Obviously, you would have loved to have seen a win last night, but a draw is a draw. And that helps them win that group. And they're on to Montreal. They're on to a group of 32. Yes.
And it's interesting that you bring up the debut of Kevin Sullivan as a turning point. I feel like, to be honest, it was a combination. The most important thing was getting Andre Blake back. We all know that. Like, without a doubt, definitely. Him coming back, and Ali Bedoya was talking about it pregame yesterday on the MLS feed, and just how important it is to have him back for their confidence, for their defense, to solidify things. He's a leader. He's consistent. We saw the huge saves that he made in the game, especially in like the 79th minute when he makes a save, keeps it 1-0, allowing for the Union to still be in it and have a chance to tie things up. He is the glue. He is the biggest change. But when you look at the timing of everything, this is a team that you send off Jack McGlynn and Nate Harrell to the Olympics. You're in the midst of a winless streak and easily could have continued to spiral out of control, could have continued with that. But instead, you get Andre Blake back. You get an exciting moment for soccer. It's bigger than the Union. It's bigger than MLS. It's bigger than the United States. A global moment for Kevin Sullivan to make his debut at 14 years old. And even just the buzz began to change around the team after that week. It was like a 1 and 2 week swing of, woe is me, this team sucks, and this is painful to watch, to now the Union being back, playing that gritty blue-collar play. And Kevin's not even playing, but it's just, I feel like the timing of his arrival, definitely Andre Blake's return, You also get the breakout of Ty Baribo, which has been fantastic to watch. The addition of Sam Adeniran, who's been a great addition and also directly has been helping them score goals. Both of the last 2 games, you can look at him creating and helping to set up the goals that the Union scored. So
Definitely.
there's been a lot of the pieces of the puzzle coming together, which has been so exciting to see for this group, because it wasn't too long ago that we were talking in some frustration about the Union and about their recent struggles. And here they are. I know it's been like, the other thing is JP went and got married. We're going to add that to it. Our buddy JP
Congratulations.
He's coming back from getting married. He was dealing with some flight issues because traveling right now is a mess with flights. I'm going to add him to the mix. Him going off getting married helped all the positives. Juju has swung in the direction of the Union, that it's now an exciting group. And even, like I said, the game against Cruz Azul is a prime example. You don't even mind them giving up goals or losing when it's, again, that's a penalty kick shootout, so it's a draw. When it's exciting, when it's a good game, when, as Jim Kurt was mentioning post-game, you're making teams earn the goals instead of having these costly mistakes and moments where they're caught flat that are leading to easy goals. That was a hard-fought game. Cruz Azul came out firing. Obviously, they needed to get at least a point in that game to advance because of their result versus Charlotte. So they had more that they had to come out and work for. Whereas the Union, prior to kickoff, knew they had already advanced to the round of 32. It was just about securing a home game versus having to play Orlando on the road. So you knew that, and I know Jim mentioned it post-game. They had talked about it. That's something the team knew. They had to weather the storm coming in, and Lord have mercy, they did. Cruz Azul was all over them. They were offensively just creating havoc. They played great possession, good build-up, combinations. They were stretching the Union defensively all around them. Andre Blake was so active, making saves, keeping the game as best as he could at bay. They give up that 41st. Yes. Give up that 41st minute goal. And it was kind of felt like, okay, this is bound to happen. It was only a matter of time before that goal was going to get through, but hitting a post, just being all around the goal. And as you mentioned, those 5 saves for Andre. But even with all that, Andrew, I still felt like, despite the fact that Cruz Azul's playing on the front foot and the aggressor and playing better, the Union still created chances. And I just love the fact that I can look back on plays. I think it was Mbaizo, actually, because he got hurt on that play. Balls bouncing around the box. Andre Blake's off his line. Mbaizo slides. Guys are throwing their body all around the place, and Andre Blake recovers, makes a save. There were like 4 or 5 different Union players in that scramble, just battling. Those are the gritty plays that, even with as much as Cruz Azul's attack was causing problems to the Union, you still saw it was great soccer. It was a loud atmosphere. It was hard. It was, both teams battling, going at it. I'm okay with them giving up a goal in the 41st minute in that type of an atmosphere in a game. That is good. That was great soccer. It was a great game.
Yeah. And I mean, you look at the stats of the game last night. Cruz Azul had 17 shots attempts. Union had 4. Just because you're not putting in that amount of shots doesn't mean you're not being efficient with those shots. And I think the Union were very efficient with their shot selection. Then you go to the fouls. You look at the Union. They had 13 fouls. Cruz Azul had 10. I mean, it was a very chippy, very physical game, from both sides. And, they definitely – I'm all right, like you said, giving up that goal. I think when I looked at it, it was halftime, right before halftime. Cruz Azul had 11 shots on goal. The Union only had 2. So you knew that there was going to be something that was going to happen for Cruz Azul early on in that game. They were just getting the ball at the net. A lot of their shots were out of the box in that first half. But overall, I mean, a draw against a very chippy team, I mean, it's great to see. You want that. I mean, Cruz Azul plays in a very tough league. And then to have that and to win the group last night like you did and get into the round of 32 is amazing for a team that was struggling for a very long time. So, just seeing them, the chemistry together, them building into this, obviously there's some guys maybe I wouldn't have started over some others to start the game. I maybe would have had them as subs. Won't name any names.
Say it with the chest. What would you have done?
I wouldn't have started Uwa. I wouldn't have started him. I think that he would have been a great sub. I think if you wanted to really be kind of put your name out there, put it out there real fast. I think you should have had Sam start over him. But, obviously you still get the job done. You get that goal in the 80th minute. Gazdag gets that goal, which helps you get to that draw, gets to the shootout. Pretty funny that, the PK king of the MLS is not the one getting the goal in the shootout to start it. But, I'm really happy to see this team build the way that they're building right now. And I know a lot of people might say Leagues Cup, it's not the cup that we want to see. I agree with that. It's, it's kind of this Fugazi Cup, but at the same time, it's nice that they're having it right now, because I think this level of competition, having that, that streak of since July 17th of beating the Rebs 5-1, I think they needed this as a team to get into something that was extremely competitive, see other teams that are not MLS teams, and learn from this, learn from the fight, learn from the competitiveness. And then, hopefully, if it doesn't fatigue them, take this into the second half or this last half of the MLS season and hopefully get into a position where you can get into a playoff. I mean, you're only 3 points out of the 8th seed. So, you could do it, and I hope that this is the catalyst for this team to really find something to say, hey, we know who we are. This is an identity that we have. We're chippy, we're strong, and we're going to get the job done. And then, like you said, you have Jack and you have Nate, who are going to be coming back from international play. They were just with the Olympic team. They just saw a lot of great teams. France is a great team. Morocco, a really strong team. Although you lose to that team, you learn something from that. You see how fast these guys play. You see the formations that they're playing in, the passing that they're creating, the opportunities that they're creating. Yeah. Seeing all of that stuff is really just, even win or lose, you soak it in like a big sponge, and you're like, okay, this is what the competition outside of the United States is like. I want to bring that here.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think that it's huge when you think about all the implications for how this is going to help the team moving forward, because there's so much learning going on the fly. And I love that Jim is mentioning that post game about how when you look at the Liga MX competition compared to the MLS, top to bottom, there's a bigger gap in Liga MX from their top teams to their bottom teams. But the MLS, although they have a closer on any given day, anybody can win type of a league, the league as a whole fits somewhere in the middle, in the bottom of Liga MX, where the top teams of the Liga MX are significantly better than the MLS. So when you look at the competition of the Leagues Cup, and I know many people are not happy with the fact that the Union are playing all these extra games. They're not thrilled with the cups and the international tournaments, and that's partly why you saw Cruz Azul with a lot of fans in attendance, and there are people that are still protesting the Union and don't want to go to games. I think it's silly, because at the end of the day, these types of games, first of all, if they did not play Leagues Cup games right now, the MLS, the teams would not be playing at all. So this is the NWSL and the MLS have worked into their schedule where they have these overlapping international tournaments to provide players that are not away on international duty a chance to still play meaningful games that do not have any impact on your MLS standings. Would you rather the Union right now be playing MLS teams and you're missing guys? No. And same for the entire league. So I understand that the leagues have to work in a way where you're not completely stopping. If you were to stop for the Olympics and nobody's playing, that's a month of you just not playing games and just practicing. That's way too long in the middle of your season. Very long time. So I love that the Leagues Cup gives them a chance to play some games. You get other guys involved. You get chances to have meaningful minutes for the guys. And you get to play somebody different. A chance to, in the middle of the season, fine-tune things. It's like having scrimmages. And yes, you can still win hardware, of course, as they advance to the round of 32. But it's not going to change your MLS standings in any way. So I'm all for these cups. Now, the hard part is because you start them in the midst of the Olympics and the international breaks, they can't be started and completed in time. So yes, there's going to be some overlap where some of the Leagues Cup games are going to trickle into the same time frame of MLS regular season games.
Of course.
That's not ideal. But that's the only way to make it work. You can't have a 3-week tournament, play everybody, do a group play and elimination round in the course of a month. But I think also bigger picture for the Union, they needed this. These are games that, when you really think about it, you've got nothing to lose. If they went out and they lost in the Leagues Cup, oh well, doesn't hurt anything towards the MLS. And now you get a chance to feel good, get the confidence going, get guys back healthy. And even with Jack and Nate away, somebody like Mbaizo, Jesus Bueno, Leon Flock, you're getting other guys minutes. You're getting other guys going. You got Sam Adeniran who comes into the mix. You're getting him going and getting him involved with learning his teammates, building the chemistry. And it just keeps them able to stay on a routine of a schedule and something to play for. Like, I have to imagine, as we talk about all the guys that have been stepping up and playing good lately, and Ty and Andre and Sam and Danny, to be able to play at Super Park with a loud crowd of Cruz Azul fans. Even if they were the majority of fans, that is the atmosphere that you want. That's that like playoff postseason atmosphere. That is such an exciting match for them to have on a Sunday night. Like, you could be sitting at home watching games. No, you're playing at home in front of your fans and be able to have such a great team building game. That's a chemistry building game right there. It's penalty kick shootout. It's a late tying goal by Danny Gazdag off of just a pure defensive, gritty play, starting with Sam pressuring the keeper all the way through the ball hitting the back of the net. These are the types of like team building games that in the stretch of the season down towards the postseason are going to help them understand how to battle and manage and work through these moments. So I'm all for what the Leagues Cup brought. And originally I was like, oh, it's more games. But the timing of it could not have been better for what the Union need right now. That will hopefully and should translate into MLS play once the regular season picks back up.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. Obviously, it would be great, if the Union can go out and win the Leagues Cup. I mean, that would be fantastic. But the realistic point is that they probably won't. But like you said, this is a time where you can win games or you can learn from other very strong competitive teams, play against them, get your legs under you, get some guys that haven't had the minutes, with some other guys who are away right now, get their legs stretched out, get them ready to go, and then when it comes time to play those meaningful MLS games, you'll have a chemistry, you'll have some type of competition behind you that you can say, hey, we feel good about ourselves. We're ready to take on, these guys. We're ready to go in and really put our nose to the grindstone and like win some games in the MLS where you really want to win. You really want to win that title. And then going to it, I know a lot of people, like you were saying, a lot of people are like, well, there's too many games and all these cups and all that stuff. Look at the bread and butter. Look at the cream of the crop of soccer. You look at the Premier League. They play in like 6 League Cups in one season. They're playing FA Cup, Europa. They play in the Carabao. They play in, in Champions League. If you're invited into that, they play in like so many different games, cups, and they're playing on top of that. So it's not unheard of. It's not uncommon for us to play. I think it's 2 League Cups on like the same time as they're doing the MLS. Like it's not that big of a deal, and like you said, there's a lot of benefit, a lot of positive benefits to it, to have them play these games. And I'm excited for it.
I'm very excited for it. And as you mentioned, comparing to the other leagues, the best leagues have a lot of games. And honestly, that's where professional sports is at in general. Like every professional sport plays a lot of games, whether it's regular season games or international tournaments that you're working into. So if you want to be the best, you have to also increase. And that means, yes, in terms of roster and depth and how, you spend money has to also change as well. But the schedule has to match. If you want to compete with Liga MX and European leagues and be able to keep players here, you got to play more games. And so I'm all for increasing the level, challenging them more, but you just have to make sure you're prepared for it. Like, I think that's my biggest gripe that I have is as the schedule continues to increase, the makeup of the team, the spending for the roster, the types of players that you're bringing in for transfer markets and things like that has to also match the level you're trying to play at. But I agree. I know Jillian saying in the chat, what's up, Jill? We had Jill on the show last week. Jill is mentioning, Jill Almany is saying, getting third in Leagues Cup last year did get the Union into CCC. And who knows what they'll do this year? They have momentum. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like extra soccer, instead of practicing right now to be able to have meaningful games against a really good Cruz Azul team that's top of Liga MX, that's not a slouch, and that's going to challenge you. And we saw that challenge. We saw them be able to handle that challenge well. And I love the fact that they got, in the opening half especially, put under pressure and responded really well. That's what you want to see from the Union, is how do they respond to these moments. And you know where you guys can also respond really well to some tough moments? That's with our friends over at Rite Aid, because at Rite Aid, they've got some delicious snacks for you. Let me tell you all about Rite Aid's LO Market. Rite Aid has a new exclusive line of snacks, pantry items, candy that is called the LO Market. They've got tons of different products. They've actually dropped some off at our studio and office for us to try ourselves. They are delicious. They've got some popcorns for you, a variety of different flavors: buttery popcorn, sweet and salty, cheddar, sea salt. They also have beef jerky, packed with protein beef jerky. They've got granola with whole grains. They've got different types of candy, such as your peach rings, your Starlight Mints, your gummy butterflies, some different sour worms. I know that sounds good right now, right? Some yummy snacks.
Yeah.
Trail mix and nuts, which are packed with vitamins, minerals, healthy fats, fiber, and protein. And then, of course, it got some great pantry items for you, different seasonings and honey. I just stocked up on a bunch of pantry items and snacks myself, because you can never have too many. And with Rite Aid, the best spot to go to make sure you can get those exclusive products that are healthy, delicious, whether you want something sweet and salty, maybe a little bit of chocolate, maybe something that's gonna be just a little bit of a candy for that snack attack. Well, if you got that snack attack, get LO Market also delivered. They've got same day delivery. You can buy online. Of course, you can always pick up in store, and go to riteaid.com/shop to order today to take care of that sweet tooth, that craving, that snack attack. If you're rustling through your pantry, looking for something in your cabinet to snack on, sounds like you need to take care of ordering from Rite Aid. So again, you can get it delivered, same day delivery, which is convenient and great. By the time we're done the show, you could have already made your Rite Aid order. And of course, you can buy online. Check out riteaid.com/shop to order today.
And then once you use all your money at Rite Aid and you buy all those delicious snacks, all of that, you can go win some money at Bet Parks Casino. That's right. You can go to Bet Parks Casino. Parks Casino is perfect place for after-work get-togethers, date nights, or girl nights out. Sip on tantalizing drinks and soak up those warmer weather good vibes right here at Parks Casino. Parks Casino, this is how you win. My casino of choice, Parks Casino, now offers an epic $5 happy hour with great food and drink every Wednesday through Sunday at the Liberty Bell Gastropub. Enjoy $5 drafts of Forged Stout, Victory Seasonal, or Parks Pills. Enjoy $5 glasses of Albertoni Cabernet. Enjoy the drink of summer with $5 Twisted Tea, frozen whiskey Arnold Palmer's. That sounds really good. Plus, feast on flavor-packed $5 small plates of braised short rib sliders, hot honey chicken sliders, or rotisserie chicken flatbreads. All the new Parks Casino epic $5 happy hour happening right now. The all-new summer is approaching, and all roads lead to Parks Casino, the #1 casino in Pennsylvania. Parks Casino has 3,200 state-of-the-art slots, 115 live table games. You can do a beautiful poker room, plus a collection of incredible award-winning restaurants. Check out Joe Conklin's Comedy Night with headliner Joe Bartnick on Thursday, June 20th. I guess that already happened. So none of that. You got the best cover bands every weekend at 360 Lounge. Headliners every weekend at the 1,500-seat Excite Center at Bet Parks Casino. Also just announced Tiffany Haddish on September 27th. For your tickets, go to parkscasino.com. Visit parkscasino.com. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Parks Casino. This is how you win.
Woo! All right. So that being said, let's talk about winning, because I know John in the chat just joined in with what we have to get into, the roster rumors. There are some good roster rumors and there are some bad roster rumors that have been around the Union. Now, first things first, before we even address what John is mentioning in the chat around, with the uptick in form against, yes, the worst teams in the East and 2 home matches for Leagues Cup, the Union could still get derailed with the transfers possibly of Jack McGlynn and or Daniel Gazdag, since those rumors are still out there. Let's first take a look back, though, because where the Union are right now on a positive is all of this recent play in Leagues Cup has you optimistic about how they can return to the MLS. And so I know, Andrew, you've got some standings and power rankings
Definitely.
for us because the Union are in a good spot. There's a lot of soccer left to be played in the regular season. The main thing that can derail it, transfers, injuries, missing key players. But if they can maintain with how well Ty Baribo's been playing, with the return of Andre Blake, with bringing back Jack and Nate from the Olympics, with how well Daniel Gazdag, Sam Adeniran, and Ty Baribo alone have been working well up top, a lot of positives for what this group can do in MLS play because they still are, as you mentioned, right on the cusp of a playoff spot. There's Inter Miami's a little out of reach right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone's chasing them in the league, in the East especially.
Just a little out of reach.
That next group, though, the Union are right there. So what's the latest on the standings? Andrew, what we got?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the Eastern Conference right now in the MLS, obviously Inter Miami is just ahead of the pack. They have 53 points. They're just untouchable. They're going to coast. They're going to be the number one. Maybe a chance that Cincinnati gets in there. I know they're sitting at 48 points right now, currently at the number 2 spot. So who knows? Let's see what happens. Messi is not going to be playing. Obviously, he has an injury. But you look at where we're at, and you look at some of the lower end seeds. We're sitting 10th right now at a whopping 27 points, which is good. I mean, it's not the greatest. It's not 53, but you look at the other teams. You got in 9th, you have Atlanta. You have in 8th, you have Toronto. 7th, you have Orlando. And 6th, who you just beat in last week, is Charlotte. And Charlotte's sitting at 37 points. I mean, we're at 27. So that's a 10-point difference. I mean, you're obviously you could get there. I'm not going to say that you're going to go on this crazy spree and you're going to sit, the 4th seed when the playoffs happen. But to say that, hey, the Union are going to make it to the 7th, the 8th, or 9th, you can, because you look at Orlando right now at 7. They're 34 points. You look at Toronto, they're 30. I mean, Atlanta is literally a point above you right now at 28. These are manageable numbers for the Union to get back on track, to win some games, get some draws, get some points into here, and help you actually, maybe get into this playoffs. And like we were just saying earlier, this Leagues Cup, barring fatigue, I know, there's definitely some more games, and barring whatever transfer may or may not happen, if it's good for us, if we lose guys, we gain guys, whatever happens there, it is a manageable number to get into, I would say, the 7th seed for the Union.
Yeah. And I think that's the key takeaway is all of this play in Leagues Cup should help build the chemistry, build the confidence, and also get this team back feeling good. I mean, momentum is so key in soccer because you can have, yes, a 10-game winless streak and you feel discouraged and feel like you can't do anything right and you're finding different ways to lose and tie games and giving up 1 and 2 goals in either the first 10 minutes or the last 10 minutes of matches. And then it completely swings. And now in the last 4 games, you've got 4 outings that 3 of them are wins. 1's a draw that obviously because of penalty kicks, you had to go to PKs to figure it out for Leagues Cup advancing process. You have 4 games to walk away from feeling good. And so I know I was looking at the Cruz Azul game as the biggest test because this group has beaten up on, to John's point, Nashville and New England, who are also struggling, both teams that are below the Union in terms of standings, and 2 teams that are in the bottom 4 of the Eastern Conference. But Cruz Azul, as Jim Curtin mentioned post-game, as we talked about at the beginning of this show, Cruz Azul and Liga MX is a top league. The MLS is behind Liga MX. So anytime you're playing an opponent in that league, I know Jose saying in the chat, and I know we've been talking about it all show, that's a major opportunity. You're not expected to win that game. You're not expected to go in and, get a shutout, put up a lot of goals. Like, to be able to have a 1-1 draw where you give up a goal in the 41st minute, you score late in the match with Daniel Gazdag's goal off of just a gritty team goal. You see guys sliding and blocking shots and the physicality, as we talk about how chippy it was. I know you mentioned it earlier, Andrew. That's a chippy team, but you need that. One of the biggest things as I was watching that game, I was like, you need this type of game that's going to force you. Be more aggressive. Be more physical. Yes, Ty Baribo's play could have been a red card, could have been a penalty kick. It was not. These are those types of emotional moments and plays that honestly, like when I look back on even my soccer career and you talk to a lot of soccer players, those are the moments that really help build your character, because soccer's not meant to be this pretty, boring golf clap type of a game. It's meant to be slide tackling and getting each other's face. Like I love seeing Jack Elliott animated, and I love seeing, Jose and Ty Baribo when the goal is scored by Danny. He's chirping at Cruz Azul. Those are the moments when you can just have fun, because that's a lot of fun. Trash talk, you're knocking guys all over the place. And then you also saw it translate into their actual play, because Cruz Azul does play a faster pace game, period.
Definitely. 100%.
I mean, Liga MX is faster. The European leagues are faster. It's more physical. It's faster. It's stronger. And the Union had to adapt, and they did. And that's one of the biggest things I loved from that takeaway of, you have a game where they could have just crumbled, given up a second goal, packed it in. No, they stuck true to their foundation, stick to their same formation, same way they like to play. It forced them to have to be better at building up the field, getting numbers forward, being organized defensively, being better in transition. You saw them picking up the pace as the game went on to match the tempo of Cruz Azul. So I think it was great to see how they responded, and how, looking ahead, if you can bring that same level to MLS play, where you're not facing a top Liga MX team in Cruz Azul. You look ahead, and as you mentioned, Andrew, having the 10th place spot right now and a 10-11 point swing between you and 5th place, you now can be able to jump the table. You start winning some games, you get back once MLS play does return, that changes everything. We're not talking about the 10-game winless streak anymore. We're looking ahead. You've got, of course, Red Bulls at the end of August, which is a chance to steal some points. Like, they have a lot of Eastern Conference games coming up. Red Bull, Inter Miami, NYCFC, DC United, Atlanta, Orlando City. Like, in the next couple of months,
winnable games.
They're playing Eastern Conference teams with a chance to steal points from teams ahead of you and jump the table. So, as you guys are saying in the chat, what's up, Kyle, Jose, John? I know you guys are talking about the schedule coming up. Not only should the schedule be exciting, but it's a schedule on top of, this is a team that is going to catch people. And I believe if they can continue this play, and we'll get into transfer rumors in a second, because drastically that changes everything I'm saying right now.
Just a little bit.
Team can continue at this level, keep their guys, and maybe even add someone, because we did hear the rumors of a possible addition. That makes things that much more exciting for what the Union can do in the second half of the season to close out regular season play in the MLS. Like, this group is feeling it. You've got, the combination of the veterans, the guys being healthy, the young guys like a Quinn, who's playing really well, Ty, who's playing really well. And so the rumors are this. Let's get into those, Andrew, because I
was just to ask you, do you want to go transfer out or transfer in?
Let's go transfer in first. Because,
transfer in? Okay.
We don't know them as we don't know him as well, but there is potential for some roster rumors. Now, actually, let me first start by saying the Union did take care of some housekeeping. They did do some things. So they did actually send a 2024 international roster spot to St. Louis City for $75,000. So Union now have one left. They're making some small moves, some very small moves. They also did trade a Union 2 guy in Richard Odata, who was sent to, he's a midfielder, they sent to Dundee United of the Scottish Premier. That transfer is complete. The Union are making some small moves. And now we're hearing that allegedly they're in talks with making another move to bring somebody in Danley Jean-Jacques. Who plays with FC Metz. He's a Haitian international midfielder. He's a guy that could absolutely be a great addition to the midfield. That's something I know we've talked about. Me, JP, we talked about it a lot, how this team needs to add more into the midfield. That
definitely 100%.
Center midi that can help control possession, help them get forward into the attack, help them defend quickly in transition. I still do think, even with how well Jose Martinez is playing, Leon Flack, Jack McGlynn, even Ali Bedoya, how he's looking, this could be a guy that you can build. If I haven't seen him play, I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on Danley, but if he pans out the way that the scouting report is sharing, he can be able to help them absolutely as another more defensive-minded, maybe center midfielder, and somebody that I know our friends over at We the Union shared some insight on, saying that Jacques plays best in that deep-sitting defensive center midfield role, and his tendencies lean towards being able to switch the point of attack and also 1v1 space creation, which we like. And he is statistically a very strong defender, but also does a good job in helping to build up the pitch. So someone that's not going to get you the goals and the assists or even generate corner kicks, crosses, things like that, but it's going to help you build. You do need that box-to-box midfielder that can help you win the ball, switch the point of attack, possess through the midfield, and be a guy that can always show and be an option. So you have that balance in your midfield play. Did I say possess?
Okay. I think you did. Yeah, I think you said that.
Oh, wait, possess through the midfield? Okay.
Yeah. Midfield play in MLS. What is that? No idea. No, it's really exciting. And yeah, like you said, he's very defensive oriented. He's not going to be your big scorer, which is totally fine. You need somebody who's going to be kind of like a general out there who's going to help you move that ball around, get it down the field and stuff like that. And we love that. That's exciting to see that this guy potentially is going to be coming over here to help us out. Fingers crossed. The question is, where would he fit in and who would kind of be taken out? Would be my question about that.
Well, I feel like it naturally will work itself out because I think that everyone needs. No, I'm just kidding. It's a super fluffy answer, but in all reality,
a little bit.
when you think about, there's a couple of variables here. One is the reality is the Union could be losing someone. Some of these transfer rumors. Daniel Gazdag, Jack McGlynn, that's two middies. One of them could possibly be out the door.
Yep.
Also, injuries happen. I don't want anybody to get injured, but it's also the reality of it. We've also heard rumors around Leon Flock and what's his future looking like. And most importantly, we know, even if everybody does stay, with how many games that they're playing, they just advanced to the round of 32. They're going to be playing, again, August 9th, back at home, thankfully, against Montreal. There's a lot of soccer left to be played. So I'm all for add another midi. Midfielders, well, every position takes a lot of wear and tear, but midfielders especially, you're up and down the park. It's a lot of running. That was my position. Loved being a midfielder, but it is a lot on you, and it is a lot on you physically as well as mentally. So I think to be able to add another piece, because Jesus Bueno's done well off the bench or in a starting role, depending on what he's played. Jose Martinez, it looks great since he's returned. Ali Bedoya has been playing a lot better. But you can never have too many strong, possession-oriented, good defensive minded types of midfielders. So I'm not even going to stress like who he would be replacing or how he would move. If you're in a 4-4-2 in the way that the Union like to play, you're going to need another midi. You're going to need depth, especially as the season goes on. And I'm also okay with bringing him in if he's going to be someone that challenges the rest of the midfielders for a spot. Like, I think we're seeing that with Sam at forward. I know you talked about he should have started over Mikel Ua in your opinion. Like, bring in guys that can raise the level. And I would love to have the conversation of, should Danley be starting over, Jose Martinez, Ali Bedoya, Quinn Sullivan, Jack McGlynn? Like, let's have those conversations. Let's create that problem where they have 12, 13 guys that on any given day can start. And Jim and his staff have to make those tough decisions. So I know my answer was fluffy, but I'm all for, like, bring them in, replace. Anybody can be replaced. Everyone's replaceable.
No, you're totally right. Iron sharpens iron, right? That's what they say. So bring him in and just if they have to compete, they compete. And then another thing is, like you said, you're going to be playing the Leagues Cup. You're going to be playing all these games. It's nice to have depth. It's nice to have a guy who's not just going to be run out really fast. And the fatigue's going to set in really soon. And then you still have, a month, 2 months left of a league that, oh my God, my guys are dying. What are we going to do? So having this guy come in, who cares where he sits? Who cares who he replaces? I was kind of more alluding to like who could be being transferred out, but to be honest, like we're saying, like that depth is great. And then he seems like a guy who's going to come in here and is going to, who's going to fight for a spot. And it's going to just elevate those guys around him. You're going to be like, oh, hey, I want to play, so it's going to have that competition level right there for them. So that's really cool.
And that's what they need. That's what they need. I know, Ivan, what's up, Ivan? Nice to have you here. I know Jose's saying how he plays more like an 8 on the side of the diamond. I think regardless, like you mentioned, tactically, you just need a guy that's going to raise the level. Definitely. Sam, I think already we're seeing that. I know Jim was talking about him post-game, and you've been seeing it on the pitch with Sam as the chemistry grows, as he's getting more comfortable in knowing the tendencies. It takes time for these guys to learn each other, know each other's tendencies, understand what they're going to do. And as the offense is getting more used to each other, you can see the elevation of play. And the same thing would happen in the midfield. I think there's need for adding another piece. Honestly, they already did it with Sam in the forward. I'd love to do it with each line, like add another defender, add another midfielder. I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but the truth is this team has run it back with the same group. And something we've all talked about in addition to depth is mixing up that starting 11, is having other people that are going to even be challenging. You're bringing in a guy that's not going to come in as a Union two-piece, but to come in as a guy that can help compete for minutes, starting role. Like that to me is what the Union have been missing in the past couple seasons. And definitely. So I hope that this actually, it seems like there's a lot of chatter around it. The deal's getting closer is what some rumors are speculating. Let's hope it actually happens. Financially, I don't know what this means for the Union, but I do know what it could financially mean for you guys with our friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Because with TrueMark Financial Credit Union, they've got a lot of benefits to get your finances in check, whether it's helping to prepare you for buying a house, helping you to utilize their mobile app to be able to check your credit score. And also, they've got some benefits like their debit card, which earns you rewards points. So that way, every time you select credit instead of debit at checkout, you actually earn CU rewards points. And as those points add up, you can redeem them for cash, for travel, for retail gift cards, for merchandise, and much more. You can also monitor your credit scores with Savvy Money, which allows you to regularly check your credit score for any possible errors or just for financial awareness, protects you against identity theft by monitoring for unauthorized activities, and also helps you build that financial stability so you can improve your credit habits and maintain a healthy score. I am very big on checking my finances regularly. I'm always checking my mobile apps, looking at the latest on my transactions and credit score and just making sure there's nothing there because I have experienced in the past some that slipped through the cracks of somebody either trying to steal my money. I don't know what they were trying to steal. Good luck. Haha, joke's on you. Just kidding. Or haha, nothing there. Or trying to or finding out that there was a balance on my credit score that actually did not exist and was an error. So with TrueMark Financial, you don't have to worry about those issues. They've got you covered. They've got you protected. So you don't have to worry about, any issues with your finances. Know where your money's going, have the better rates and lower fees so you can make sure you're saving and planning for the future. Just like we want the Union to plan for the future, you too need to plan for your future financially. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA. It is an equal opportunity lender. And for more information, visit TrueMark.com/PHLY. That's TrueMark.com/PHLY.
And here is one of my favorites. I love drinking beer, and my big choice of beer is definitely Coors Light. Between work, social media, and the life choices that are thrown our way, it's no wonder we're more worked up. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn a rained-out barbecue into a karaoke house party? Or after a tough loss, settle scores with an ice-cold peace offering. Make a choice to choose chill. Then reach for a Coors Light. It's a mountain cold refreshment. I mean, I'll tell you, I used to work before this job. I used to work in landscaping, and it would be a hot, grimy, gross, sweaty day. I'd come home. I'd be covered in grass clippings. I'd be covered in whatever, smelling gas all day. And there was nothing better than getting home, back to my apartment, opening up that fridge and looking in there and seeing that can of Coors Light just glistening in the light, the fridge light, and you grab it. It's ice cold. The mountains are blue. You crack open, and that first sip, your night is completely done. You are just set and ready to go. You can watch whatever game. If the Union are on, if the Phillies are on, the Eagles are on, whatever it might be. If you're just sitting down to watch the Olympics or anything like that, there's nothing better than enjoying a case or just one of Coors Light.
Yum. All right. Well, let's get into the bad because unfortunately with the transfer rumors of who could possibly be coming in, we've also been seeing transfer rumors of who could possibly be going out. So that being said, let's talk about the elephant in the room as John had to come in the chat earlier and bring it up because it is the reality for all the excitement we've had lately with the Union. The truth is the MLS still is not on the same level of European leagues, period. End of statement. Still playing catch up. And because of that, and I know, Andrew, you and I have spoken about this, there are players that are looking for other opportunities because for some, the MLS is a stepping stone. Just like we have stepping stones sometimes for everybody
Yep.
tuned in. Like you might have a job or whatever that's a stepping stone, or that stepping stone closer towards buying a house. In terms of their profession as professional soccer players, the MLS for some is still a stepping stone. It's got a long way to go. It's progressed tremendously. We love what the MLS is doing. But
Mhm.
that being said, there are still other leagues that have not only a higher level of talent, but also the higher ability to pay you. And so the reality is someone like Daniel Gazdag, who scored his fifth career Leagues Cup goal in the past game on just Sunday, is also somebody that other teams have had their eye on. Daniel Gazdag has been named on a 3-man Celtic transfer watch list. There have been some potential rumors circulating that Celtic FC might be looking to sign him to a long-term deal. Daniel Gazdag, this is not the first time we've heard him in the midst of rumors. That's terrifying. Leon Flock, we've already been unsure about what his future is going to look like with the Union, which is also terrifying. And then Jack McGlynn, as Jack McGlynn and Nate Harriel have been off playing so well with the U.S. men's U23 national team. That's great to see in Paris, but it's also terrifying because that means there are other people watching them play just as well. So Jack McGlynn has also been tied to some European teams that are allegedly calling and inquiring about him. Real Sociedad, PSV, and some English clubs are currently the ones that I've seen that have been linked to him. The point is, European clubs are calling, and I'm hoping that people are not answering.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think we all are. But at this end of the day, these guys' careers, as much as we would love to see them stay here with the Union, for them to be able to get a shot with one of these big clubs, that's really awesome and very impressive. Daniel Gazdag for the Celtics to come out and want you. I mean, that's awesome. They're a huge, huge club. So, it's bittersweet. Obviously, we would love him to stay here. We would love Jack McGlynn to stay here, finish your career here. Play with us for 1,000 years. But it is what it is. And, this sometimes your hands are tied behind your back and you can't really control much stuff. So it will be interesting to see what happens if these guys do get transferred out. And if they do get transferred out, what is this team going to look like? What is the chemistry going to be, especially losing Gazdag, who is pretty much your top scorer on the team. Like what is scoring going to look like with him out? Jack McGlynn is just deadly in the midfield. We all know about his sweet left foot and what he can do outside the box, so to lose him, is going to be big. And like you were saying, you go to these international levels of play, the Olympics, you play in Euros, you play in all of those things, you go over there. Other eyes are going to be on you. Other eyes are going to be analyzing your game. Other eyes are going to see what you're capable of doing. And if they see that you have promise, if they see that you have major potential to be something great, they're going to want you. And the MLS, like Renee just said, is a stepping stone. And obviously we're hoping that in due time, it's not going to be that way, and that this will be a Premier League, and that, players will want to be here. They'll want to stay here for their career. They'll want to come to this league. But as of right now, with a Jack McGlynn, who is, I want to say in his early 20s, 21, 22, something like that, to have an offer to go play in Europe and, potentially play in the Premier League, play in La Liga, play in one of those things. I mean, your eyes have to be bulging out of your head, because it's like, whoa, this is what I've dreamt about as a child. No, I don't think anyone's dreaming about playing the MLS, unfortunately. But like, for them growing up, they're probably looking at their top Premier League team. They're probably looking at like, Madrid. They're probably looking at all of these teams and saying, this is where I want to be. This is who I want to be. So to have those opportunities come your way, like I said, it's very bittersweet for us as fans. It's very bittersweet, not for them.
Yeah. I mean, the hard part is you just lost Julian Carranza. And with that, we did get the emergence of Ty Baribo, which was a huge positive. Ty Baribo has been fantastic ever since stepping into a starting role. Now, granted, we all were calling to see more of Ty Baribo and had a feeling that he was going to be able to add a little bit more to the offense than he was, since he wasn't getting minutes. But how many of those hits can you take? Realistically, how many times can you continue to lose top scorers, top players, and bounce back? And although we get the rumors about, someone like Danny Jean-Jacques from FC Metz to possibly join the Union, you would like to have him added, not replacing. We don't want to continue having to replace, especially in season. I think off season, you expect your roster should have some shakeups, but that also was with the understanding you have time to, plan for the season. Mid-season, we are in August now. We're talking about how right on time it is that the Union are doing well in Leagues Cup play, just advance to the round of 32 to play Friday night versus Montreal. We should be continuing talking all the positives of the direction they're going, not having to take like 2 steps forward, 5 steps backwards, which is what this feels like. So I'm hopeful. I know, Ivan, you're mentioning in the chat, like, we're going to lose Gazdag and find a cheap, unknown Slovakian second division playmaker the Sugarman way. It is concerning to me because you want to continue with how well they've been playing, continue building this chemistry, continue adding pieces to it, bring back Jack and Nate, add in another transfer. And then on top of that, what makes it even more difficult when you look at the individuals, we're finally getting Jack McGlynn, whose offensive aspect of his game is improving. You mentioned the shots. Oh, yeah. He's doing a better job, 1v1, creating space for a shot. He's obviously a set piece specialist. He's also a guy that's been improving on the side of those final third passes and being a playmaker for this attack as a midfielder. His flair, his confidence, he is still very young. So we're seeing him mature. Daniel Gazdag is the same thing. We're seeing his evolution in more goals in the run of play. His work rate's improving, the runs that he's making. We're seeing him do a better job of becoming that dangerous mini that's making the deep run or the wide run. Instead of always just playing so small, he's adding more versatility and more of a dynamic creativity to his game. And then you might lose one of them. Like, just as you finally got them doing the little things that you wanted, you might lose them. It's kind of like you work so hard to build, and whether it's a relationship or whatever it may be, all for it to like end right when you get to the chance of reaping the rewards. Like, this has been a long time in the making of needing Daniel Gazdag's game to improve in the run of play, Jack McGlynn to be more offensive minded, and they're finally doing it. And now we are getting, and because they're finally doing it is probably also what's increasing other clubs looking at them.
Exactly.
There's a double-edged sword. If we were just getting PK scoring Daniel Gazdag or Jack McGlynn, who was just a pass-first midfielder, we might not be having these rumors, but here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, it stinks. And, hopefully, as time passes, this MLS can get to a level, like I was saying, that like these players want to stay here. They're not going to second guess or overlook what we have here, because it does stink. You're getting into a position right now where, you're winning some games, you're finding an identity. And, with Nate and Jack coming back, they can just only add to the chemistry of what's already here, and just to propel you even more. So to have these transfer rumors coming around saying that these guys could be potentially out is just like, oh my gosh, we're grasping for straws. What are we going to do next? Who are we going to find? And then, kind of like what Ivan was saying, it's unfortunate, but it is kind of realistic that, you might not have a guy who comes in who's really cheap and you don't know what he's going to be, and, if money was thrown out a little bit more with this team, especially, you might not have to worry about a guy leaving or 2 guys leaving, because you're always having a flow of new guys coming in. You're always having a flow of transfers, a retiring Atletico guys is coming out. Why don't we try to grab him? A guy from, Aston Villa is retiring. Why don't we try to grab him? If we were having that kind of that flow of guys coming in, like you see with other teams in the MLS where they're getting these retired guys, we might not have to worry about like a Daniel Gazdag leaving, because we got such and such coming in who was in their previous league scoring 20 goals a game or a year, or like 15 goals a year, like you could have that, but it's unfortunate just with like the circumstances that we have that like you're not getting that kind of that flow of players, and you might have to grasp for something that is very unknown.
Yeah, ironically, as you mentioned that, I'm getting the notification that RSL is set to sign Diogo Goncalves from FC Copenhagen A 27-year-old Portuguese midfielder that's going to arrive on a fee around $3 million as a DP, who scored 20 goals in 57 games for the Danish side and had stints with Benfica and Nottingham Forest. So Real Salt Lake is literally doing exactly what you're talking about, something that the Union do not do. And that is the unfortunate part. And then you add to that, as you mentioned, it's the return of Nate and Jack from the Olympics, as the U.S. men's Olympic team was eliminated Friday. They got walloped 4-0 by Morocco.
Yes, they did.
A couple penalty kicks. Nate Harrow actually, unfortunately, created and caused one of the PKs that they gave up. And for Morocco, they knocked them out. But the U.S. under 23 team did get to the quarterfinals, which is something that they haven't done since like 2008. And on the other side, for the women, a positive though, they are headed and advanced to the semifinals after beating Japan behind a beautiful late goal by Trinity Rodman to stamp their spots. They are now going up against Germany, who they actually just beat in the group play 4-1. And that's going to be difficult because you're playing Germany again, who already is a top team. I was reading Germany and the U.S. are the two of three teams in women's history that have won a FIFA World Cup and also an Olympic gold medal. And you're facing them in a semifinal matchup, which every time these two face off, minus that 4-1 game, has always been a battle. But it was a beautiful, beautiful win over Japan Saturday with that Saturday morning, I should say, bright and early, and Trinity Rodman with an incredible goal. So although the men got knocked out, it was great to see Trinity Rodman help lift the U.S. women. And honestly, the team's been playing well, but she's been playing so well. Her, Mallory Swanson, they've been scoring some beautiful goals. And that one against Japan, bending it from the right side of the six into the top left was beautiful.
I'm becoming a huge fan of Trinity Rodman. She is just lights out. All these games. I know, like before this Olympics, she was struggling finding the back of the net, and then she was able in that first game to find the back of the net, and then she has just been on a roll. This women's Olympics team is just crazy, crazy good, and I highly recommend everybody wake up at whatever it is, 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and watch this team because they are something to really be proud of.
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of depth and a lot of talent, and hopefully they can bring home the gold as they are 2 wins away. 2 wins away.
They will.
I hope so. I think they should. I think they can. I think Emma Hayes has been doing a fantastic job with them as head coach, and they've really bolstered and changed the makeup of this team tremendously. Yep. You talk about changing up the team. Union, take some notes on how you can continue to have the same foundation, but make some major moves in just the personnel to help the team take the necessary steps. But Andrew, as we wrap up, I know you had a chance Wednesday. I guess it would have been last Wednesday. Wow, already almost a week away to head down to Lincoln Financial for the Arsenal-Liverpool game. I got to hang with some of the Liverpool fan club prior to the game. And listen, as we talk about the MLS compared to the rest of the world, and we talk about where it stacks up, when you look at games like, when you look at games like that, it's the fact that you have fans flying and traveling from all over the world. I know we just saw it with Cruz Azul at Subaru Park Sunday. That is the norm. The fans, the camaraderie, the on your feet the entire time, cheering, chanting loud, and then the talents on the pitch, the speed of play, the physicality, the soccer IQ, the combinations, the dynamic movement, the way that you're breaking teams down, the way you're defending, totally different from the MLS.
Oh, 100%. It was like night and day. I've gone to a bunch of Union games this year. I've taken my girlfriend who's she's just recently kind of gotten into soccer. And then for my birthday, she bought me tickets to Liverpool and Arsenal. A huge Liverpool fan. I love Liverpool, biggest team. I love them. But just watching them play in a friendly against Arsenal compared to like the Union, it's night and day. It really is just incredible.
Yeah, respectfully, it is.
Mo Salah is insane. I love him.
So good. So good. Yeah. And that's why, as we talk through all this stuff around the Union, at the end of the day, the league is taking major strides and still has to take more strides, without a doubt, to see the level of play of a friendly in August between Arsenal and Liverpool, where you don't even have everybody out there. You know, both teams didn't even play all their best guys, but it's still a totally different brand of soccer. But I am encouraged by the brand of soccer we've been seeing as of late from the Union in terms of MLS play moving forward. I think it's going to be extremely helpful. Of course, next it's Montreal, Friday the 9th, where they're going to be playing at home at Subaru Park. They don't have to go on the road against Orlando. So it's a huge opportunity to see if they can continue to advance and continue to play some great soccer. I'm excited for this group. I'm excited to see. I think Jim Curtin, Andre Blake, and the Union have really been bringing things together. And who knows, maybe if they keep winning, some of these loan rumors and transfer rumors won't happen because a guy like Daniel Gazdag and Jack McGlynn will just be so happy here. They'll just want to stay.
Fingers crossed.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We've got JP Zapata, who will be joining us back once he returns from his honeymoon and wedding. He will be back next week. And we will be back next week as well for more on PHOY Union Podcast. Andrew, producer, thank you so much for weighing in and joining us to talk Union soccer.
Tons of fun.
And all things Olympics, because it's an exciting time right now for the Union, guys. It's an exciting time. Let's continue supporting, keep it going, keep the good vibes going. Fingers crossed this great soccer continues for the Union moving forward. So we will see you guys more as we continue to roll out. Make sure you're following, subscribing, tuning in. We appreciate you guys. Kyle, Ivan, Jose, Jill, John, everybody that's tuned in on YouTube, watching back later, or listening on podcast platforms. Thank you so much for supporting. And for Andrew, myself, Renee, have a fantastic rest of your Monday. It's always a better Monday when we've got great soccer to talk about. See you guys next time here on PHOY Union Podcast. Bye, guys.
Go Union.
We all silly like the mayor.